Hi, this is the Pit and Paddock Racing Show with Dan and Rand. We have a much busier weekend to cover here. It was deja vu all over again in Bahrain as Red Bull finished 1 and 2, shockingly with Verstappen followed by Perez. Carlos Sainz kind of flew through the field there. Faster than I've seen him in quite a while after learning he's going to lose a seat next year. Rounding out the podium.
I feel like it's our worst fears coming to pass. Another boring year of Red Bull domination.
I don't know what Formula One's going to do about this. I mean, I don't want them to start changing rules because someone's fast. This isn't NASCAR. But just a couple ideas maybe for them to think about that I randomly came up with. Maybe a couple stage breaks in the race. Just throw the yellow out. Get the field caught back up.
I'm warming up to stage breaks.
This is good. Maybe there's a lot of track workers out there. Maybe just throw a couple pieces out on the track. Get that safety car out there.
The Dale Jr. hot dog wrapper on the track.
That's correct. Once he gets to about 10 seconds, maybe. And then I think this is the best idea. Perfect for auto racing in Formula One is what you're going to do here with about, let's go, 6 races left, 0 everyone out, and have a playoff. I think that would go over well.
I think I could live with that. I was dubious about NASCAR when they first came out with it. I thought it was kind of stupid, but I've gotten used to it. But yeah, they need something.
No.
If I'm Andretti, I'm reconsidering my F1 team bid because F1's going to lose all their new American Netflix fans if they do another boring year of Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull. History says, there's 1 year of, every time they do a new formula, 1 year of competition, 3 years of domination by one team, and then 1 more year of competition when somebody catches up.
I hope they don't do any of those. Because, I don't know, how did Formula One make it through all those years with Senna and dominating? Was there just not as much social media complaining about the races then?
No Americans watched
it. No Americans were watching like, wow, why aren't they hitting each other? This is terrible.
Yeah, it was all Europeans and South Americans watching it, and they, socialists do a better job of just doing what you're told. Watch the race and shut up.
The less, I don't want them to start taking away innovations and interesting technical things. Everyone in the same car. Maybe Max, though. Maybe they should let another team modify one piece of his car for every race. There you go.
Something. They used to have lots of modifications, but it just got so expensive. You had only 2 teams that could afford to keep up.
Yeah.
That was back when they would throw the engine away after every race and get a new engine for that extra 1/100th of a second.
The practice engine, the qualifying engine.
Yeah, they got rid of all. And they did a good job. They put in the cost cap. Now it gives everybody else a chance, but they haven't solved the problem of one team dominates, one team gets lucky and figures out the formula, and they end up dominating.
I feel like the whole field's a lot closer together, though.
They are. I still have a little bit of hope just because Ferrari was faster in the corners at Bahrain, and it was an abrasive track, which is another hard thing for Ferrari, and Verstappen was just in clear air the whole time while the other teams were mixing it up a little bit, and that slows them down. So maybe, you know what, I'll keep a little hope until after this weekend in Saudi Arabia. So, what was your driver quote of the day for Formula One?
Ricardo to Yuki, what an effing helmet, was my driver quote of the day.
I've never heard that term. What does that mean when you call somebody a helmet?
I guess he's a dick.
Oh,
that's my guess.
That means, I figure it was either you're a dick or you're like an NPC. You're just a helmet in the car, and
I'm not up on my Australian slang terms, but that's my guess at it.
Ricardo's pretty good at Australian profanity, so
he's practiced it his whole life.
Haas did a lot better than everybody thought, even though they didn't score points.
Well, they weren't dead last, so that's improvement. They, again, good qualifying, and they fall back during the race. But not great, not terrible.
Not as bad as Alpine.
That, the Alpine...
Is it Alpine?
Alpine,
Did I say it right?
yes. You're going to get scolded.
Frenchmen are going to email me.
Alpine was expected to be terrible, and they followed through on that.
You know you're terrible when your top two engineers fire themselves.
I'm sorry, that was awful. We'll see ourselves out. Thank you.
I've never seen a team go... I mean, they were medium last year, and then to go from medium to dead last... Yeah, that's an engineering fail.
They had a couple... Yeah, last year they weren't great, but they had a couple points runs.
Yeah.
And then this year, just a collapse after the off-season.
I'm sure they could solve their problems with a good equity hire.
Yes, definitely. That's probably going to fix everything.
That would be very French of them.
What else was... so my little conspiracy theory is I think Red Bull starts slowing their pace down so they're not winning by as much in order to keep the stewards from trying to go after them, or some sort of rule changes to keep Red Bull slow.
So they're going to win, but they're going to sandbag a little so it doesn't look so bad?
Yeah, I think so. And the other teams should catch up towards the end of the year, but it might be too late by then. But I don't think they're going to start lapping. I think they're going to slow the pace down.
Next year is the final year of the formula.
Yes.
Right, so we have to get through this year. Next year, it should be competitive, but then we start all over again, and it's going to be who hits the jackpot and figures out the new formula.
Someone has the first year runaway with it.
I keep waiting for a Virgin Racing discovery. You know, that's like having
when
Alfa Romeo be the fastest car and win the championship.
Was it Honda that pulled out and left all their research and equipment, and Braun bought it up?
Yeah.
And they had it was the diffuser that
they
they
figured
were so
out
fast.
The exhaust diffuser, and it made them faster in the corners, and then Button finally won a championship. They just got lucky.
Won the one race, or the one championship. Like, all right, we're out. Goodbye, everyone.
It's racing's greatest science experiment, and the winner is somebody who just got lucky with the rear exhaust diffuser.
Yeah, Formula One.
Christian Horner cleared of, quote, inappropriate and coercive behavior towards a female employee. I don't know what that means. I mean, does it mean come into the shower and wash my back, or does it mean go out and walk my dog until it poops, even though you have a master's degree in mechanical engineering? I don't know. I wish they'd tell us more about what it was he was accused of.
They weren't very clear or concise on any of the actual charges there.
Yeah. Rumor, there were screenshots from some text messages that are supposedly from Horner that were leaked. I haven't found them. I haven't read about anybody that's found them. Red Bull denied my Freedom of Information Act request.
Shocking.
So I'm not able to see them. But the rumor I heard that it has something to do with sexting, which is why his Spice Girl wife, which I didn't know he was married to a Spice Girl until now, was seen hugging him in the pits to show that, oh no, my husband hasn't done any sexting. Look, I still love him.
Look, we're all here and we're smiling. Everything's great. I didn't see what they said either. Are they even... I heard they were leaked to some journalists and stuff, but they weren't going to release them because they couldn't authenticate.
Oh,
They could be faked. I don't know. Well...
They could be faked. Apparently, Verstappen's dad saw them because he said Christian Horner needs to resign or the whole team's going to fall apart.
There's always some sort of drama. They can't just relax a little bit there.
I can't wait to see this on the Netflix show next year.
Oh man, I hope they are there. I hope they're in there all the time. No, they won't put it on, will they? They probably kicked him out for some of the spicier moments.
Oh, I'm sure the red Netflix guys are drooling. I mean, after last year's boring season, they really need something to make people watch that show again. Word that I saw was that it was settled the investigation was done very quickly, and it was settled because sponsors wanted it settled, especially Ford, which I didn't even realize Ford was in bed with Red Bull. Why are they helping Red Bull? They can't make an IndyCar motor, but Ford can make a complex F1 hybrid power unit? That's not America first.
That isn't. I don't think they're even building the motor. I think they're sponsoring Red Bull's in-house motor production.
For the next Formula.
Yes. So I think Ford's just branding and not
the branding now,
building.
But they're going to help them build their engine next time.
If they stick around. Sort of a...
You think Ford might not stick with them?
I think they'll see how this goes a bit. I don't know. Maybe they're regretting it now, watching. But why not jump on with Red Bull? Fastest team in Formula One.
Hey, Mercedes was the fastest team until we got a new formula.
I wonder how much that engine program costs compared to, say, IndyCar.
I think you could take the engine program and sponsor 3 IndyCar teams with what they spend.
Only 3.
I don't know. I asked Graham Rahal what it would cost to put a third car together when we were at the last Phoenix IndyCar race, and he didn't know.
He knows now.
Yeah.
I know how much it costs to not get it in the 500, he said.
It costs a lot of tears.
Jeddah, is there a new hope for a competitive race?
I'm holding out a little bit of hope. Like I said, Ferrari was faster in the corners than Red Bull at Bahrain, so Jeddah's a little more of a downforce track, and it's not so abrasive on the tires. So I'm going to hold my decision until after next weekend.
Maybe. I think, well, hopefully the braking issue is fixed with Ferrari and they can at least stay close.
How do you get your brakes to go unbalanced when you're in Parc Ferme?
Was there a strong gust of wind? Was Max checking out the wing at the back and he turned a couple knobs?
I'm thinking Russian hackers.
Oh, Russian hackers.
Yeah.
Man, they just go after everything important, don't they?
Yeah. If anything goes wrong, it was Russian hackers.
That's correct. Yep. Well, figured that out. I'll forward that to the F1 crew.
All right. On to NASCAR.
NASCAR, we've got Kyle Larstoppen winning all stages and the race, while Reddick holds on to P2 through all stages and the entire race. A little more passing, though. He didn't lead every lap. But that's his first win for the season. Couple interesting notes there. Chris Buescher's wheel fell off during the race. He slammed into the wall. They had about a 15-minute red flag to get that all fixed back together.
I got a nice picture of that.
The wheel coming off?
Yeah, I ripped it off from NASCAR's YouTube.
That was just straight came off.
That's how you say his name?
Chris Buescher?
Oh, I was going to say like Bucher. I don't know.
Bueller. Another wheel problem. Bubba Wallace, who started off the race pretty well, had a stuck lug nut and lost 12 laps while they had to weld it or cut it off with a torch, I believe. So that didn't go well. And Kyle Busch, who had the lead early, another disappointing finish, out of the top 15.
Is it gonna be? Because that was a 1.5 mile track, and most of the tracks are 1.5 mile tracks.
Yep.
So, number one, is it gonna be Chevy all season? And number two, is it gonna be Hendrick now that we've got, Hendrick's got the 1.5 mile figured out? Are they just gonna dominate all year?
I don't think so, because I remember last year, through the first maybe 5 or 6 races, Hendrick won most of them. Phoenix was Hendrick, Darlington Hendrick, but then they kind of fell off towards the end of the year, and it seems to be shaping up that way again. Strong early on, and then over the summer they fall back a little bit. But Byron was up there early. He got a trash bag an entire trash bag with beer cans in it, stuck on his grill, so he had to pit, and He lost the lead.
What RV did that fall?
That's what I was. Somebody's in the RV like, where's my trash bag at?
Guess what? Vegas is windy.
Man, I have never seen it. They said they were gusting 70 to 80 miles. They had to take the cameramen down Saturday during qualifying because it was so windy up there.
Yeah. Well, my man Gilligan was a reliable 20th in both of the first two stages. And then he fell back to 24th. I'm thinking it's because he didn't have his Peanuts livery. If he would have kept the Peanuts livery, he would have done fine. Instead, he went with generator, spelled with the number 8 like a text message. So, I'm holding out hope for him in Phoenix.
They can't fit the whole word on the car, I guess. Just have to put the 8.
Are there any government sponsors this year? Remember Air Force sponsored for a while.
Yes, Air Force is on the, I want to say 2023 car? They used to be on the 43 a lot. I don't see any other ones really that often.
They really need to advertise? I mean, that's our tax dollars at work.
Have you not heard of the Air Force?
Yeah. They need the visibility. Mm-hmm. Nobody's heard of the F-22.
No.
Or the B-1.
I feel like they could just fly over the track and that's good enough.
That's the big question for Phoenix. Are we going to get a real flyover? When Trump was in office, we got military flyovers again. But I haven't seen any now that Trump's not in office. When Obama was in office, he stopped military flyovers, and then we got them back.
Yes.
So, I mean, Luke Air Force Base is literally like 5 miles from the track.
November, it was F-35s.
Good. So, Raja Karuth, which, that's actually a pretty cool name.
It is.
He's Black Indian, right? Or no, Black Asian.
From Washington, D.C.
Really?
He started iRacing that's how he started racing. It was iRacing, and I don't think he was in a race car until he was actually 19.
See? That formula works, just like in the movie.
Yeah. So there you go. Just play a lot of video games, and eventually you're going to be a NASCAR winner.
You should probably get the $1,500 rig with the 3 monitors all around you and the really expensive steering wheel.
Yeah, do that.
No, that's cool that somebody came up from, what do they call it? Sim racing? Is that the right term? Somebody came up from sim racing. Plus, Raja's kind of a cool name. I think it means king in Hindi. What do they speak in India?
That sounds
Hindi.
Correct.
Yes, Raja.
First trucks race where they actually drove like normal people and didn't crash every 5 laps, so that was fun to watch, actually.
What did you watch the Xfinity race?
I did. It's not super exciting, but Austin Hill not going to go with the 3rd straight victory. Instead, that's going to go to John Hunter Nemechek, winning his 10th race. He's in Cup, but he took a step down just for funsies, I guess.
There used to be a lot more of that.
Yeah, they limited it to 5 races a year out of your division.
I used to see the Bushes all the time running
the Kyle Busch rule.
The Bushes in the Busch series, or it used to be the Busch series. So I saw the Reddick complaining about he couldn't get the win because of the car. Just the rules of the NASCAR car, like the car spec, had some issue with it, and that was stopping him from doing any better. Is it? Do we have an anti-drafting car now?
It's Kyle Larson is a master of, they called it on the broadcast, aero blocking, where you just can put your car in the right spot to ruin the downforce on the car behind you. Just a little bit loose, and he'll drift up the track.
Okay.
That's a lot of...
So that was some driver skill.
Yeah, it's not... I mean, if you got to put the car in the right place and know where to put it to slow down the run of the guy behind you. Plus, Reddick once again had some pit issues, which didn't help him too much either. I think he's one to look for the rest of the season.
So he was blaming the car for his inability to
the car in the pit crew?
Drive.
Yes.
Okay. It was everybody else's fault.
That's correct.
It was. So is Ganassi cursing himself for letting Larson go?
I don't know. I think he's still counting his money. Actually, he should have waited like 3 more years, and he could have probably doubled the price he got for that team. They probably just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I can't imagine how much work it is dealing with all of these race teams.
Yeah, ask Gene Haas. I don't know. He does it.
I don't know. He just gets on the phone and yells at Gunther, from what I've learned on Drive to Survive.
I better go call Gene.
I'm going to go call Gene.
Well,
what the hell are you doing?
There won't be that in two more years.
No.
What news then in NASCAR? Let's wrap up our news.
Marshall Pruitt on his podcast had mentioned that Honda fans would be happy to hear some news about NASCAR soon, which that's good news for NASCAR getting another manufacturer, but I don't think that sounds like great news for IndyCar.
No, because NASCAR fans just love having another foreign manufacturer in their racing. They don't, they're not excited about Chevy, Dodge, and or Chevy, Ford, and does Dodge count as American now since they got bought by Italians?
Does it do any of them? I think Toyota is actually made in Kentucky more than Chevy and Ford are.
Assembled in Kentucky. I think the parts also get made in Japan, and all the decisions get made in Japan, and all the profits go back to Japan.
TRD.
Yeah.
Well, that would be nice. Maybe Honda's considering both with a little better formula in IndyCar.
Yeah, they could. They're leaving Formula One completely, right? After in a new formula.
That's a pile of cash freed up right there.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it costs to develop a Formula One engine, especially now that they're all hybrid and they're going to be even more electrical next formula.
Dale Jr. announced that he's going to be leaving the NBC broadcast next year for the TNT Max broadcast team. So that's some pretty big news. Everyone's always interested when NASCAR Jesus is involved.
That should get them the visibility that they need.
You got a new broadcast coming up. You want a big name guy leading it, so that should be fun. I enjoy Dale Jr. in the booth. He's always exciting.
What's this new virtual reality app that I hear about?
I saw an interview with the NASCAR president that they're developing a VR app for what is that? Meta Quest or
the Facebook?
Yeah, the VR headset. So you get the VR headset on, and it's an app that puts you in the car during the race, so you can watch the race live from. I would guess they would mount a 360 camera in the car. It's like you're sitting there. You can look around in directions and see what you see from the car. I think that sounds like a really cool idea.
It sounds cool. Though when we play video game races, we never do the inside car view. You always do the...
No,
you always end up doing the camera behind the car, or else you crash because you can't see.
I always start with the in-car view because I want to feel like I'm better at this than other people, and then like 2 laps in, I'm like, okay, just show me the top view.
Well, and I heard that Logano was fined for impersonating a duck.
I was going to go with a flying squirrel. Is what he was looking for.
Man from Atlantis was my second choice. Didn't he have webbed hands?
Maybe he just jumped out of the pool.
What? So why can't you have a glove with some webbing on it?
Well, the NASCAR's reason is it's a fire safety glove, and he sewed into it, which makes it that would have to get recertified as a fireproof, safety equipment. But they sewed on webbing between the figures. So, you hold it up to the window qualifying, and it's supposed to help keep the air out. I don't know if it actually works. Well, I guess it does work because he did it at Daytona and Atlanta, so... But now NASCAR's keeping an eye on that.
Okay. So you can have the duck gloves, you just can't have the duck gloves if you sew the duck webbing on yourself.
Yes. So I wonder if they're going to start making webbed gloves from the factory certified.
Yeah, I thought you were always searching for more air to come in because you get really hot.
At qualifying, they're trying to block it, keep that window net, because they had a window net, trying to keep the air passing over it.
Okay. Oh, give them a little more aerodynamic.
A little bit. Okay. I don't know if it must have helped a little bit, but not anymore. That's gone.
I'll call it the Adrian Newey glove.
Close. Next week, we're coming to Phoenix, NASCAR. Trucks. Nope, no trucks. Xfinity and Cup. This is going to be a Hendrick show, is my guess.
So Phoenix counts as a short track as far as NASCAR is concerned, even though it's a mile.
It's a mile. It hasn't put on the best racing.
No. Well, it's a weird track. It's got banking on one side and flat turns on the other, so it's really hard to set up for.
Yeah, it doesn't lead to much side by side, besides the restarts, which are pretty crazy.
There was a reason IndyCar didn't come back. Yeah, the racing wasn't that great. I don't know. Phoenix is due. Instead of spending all that money redoing the pits, they should have redesigned the track.
They should have. I think that would have been much better. They repaved it a few years ago, and it didn't really help anything.
No.
For that, I'm going to go with Hendrick. I'm going to go Byron on this one.
Okay. I'm sticking with my man Gilligan. I'm going to be with him through thick and thin, especially if he can get Peanuts for a sponsor again. We're in Arizona. He should do like tequila for a sponsor.
Tequila, maybe some sort of Federico's Mexican food.
Raul and Teresa's. Ooh. They would sponsor him.
I'll check with them. Maybe that's in their advertising budget.
If you come to the Phoenix race, don't go to Raul and Teresa's. I don't want it to... Well, Tony Stewart used to go there every time he showed. It became a driver favorite back in the, 90s, 2000s.
A lot of people hanging out there.
Yeah. Then it got popular, and then it got too busy. It is the best Mexican food in Arizona.
It's one of my favorites.
That we've found. So, you're going to be at the race.
Mm-hmm.
What you should do, make some stickers for our podcast. Go into the garage, we get the garage pass, like you're just like la la la, and put the stickers on the cars.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, just make sure it's on passenger side, because that's where the cameras usually are.
I don't think anybody will notice. I'll try that.
No, like a 8-inch, 12-inch sticker. Just put it over the ones nobody cares about.
Okay, I'll note that down. Get started on those stickers.
Yep. I'll bail you out when they call.
And finally, this weekend, IndyCar decides to get going at St. Pete.
So St. Pete race, they gave us the times, right? It's still 24th?
Yes.
The thermal race, I read that they was $1,000 a ticket, and they refunded a bunch of money and dropped the price to $500 a ticket.
Oh, wow. Were they not selling the tickets, or were they just deciding that was ridiculous?
It was something to do with the number of spectators they could have at the track, like some health issue, some fire, like a fire and life safety type of issue. So I don't know what they did. They did something. The county said, okay, you can have more people now. So they dropped the price. Probably nobody was paying $1,000 for a ticket anyway.
No, I mean, if you were, you probably could already afford to live in one of the houses there.
Yeah. I saw that track. How do you get out of your house? You just wait until the track's not green?
I guess. Just pop.
Oh.
Is anyone coming? No, looks clear. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked for Zanardi.
Ooh.
NASCAR is talking about a charter system. All right, how can we explain this? Because I barely understand the charter system, let alone whatever IndyCar's thinking.
I don't know what they're thinking here. Is this... So the charter system basically is you've got 36 cars that are guaranteed a spot in every race for the whole season for NASCAR, is how it works. And those guys are just in every race. They still qualify, but they're in every race, and they get a certain better share of the winnings and TV money. Which
is only IndyCar, or the Indy 500.
Yes, that would be...
None of the other races make
for
money.
For IndyCar. And when do they have issues with cars that they need to Is it just for Indy that they want to do it? I don't understand.
Does anyone get bumped out other than
Graham Rahal and Fernando?
Yeah, nobody else ever gets bumped out of a race. I've yet to hear of, there's too many IndyCar entries for this race. We're going to have to bump some out.
Are they expecting to get too many entrants for. Yeah, I know some of these street courses have a lot smaller pit lane. I don't know. Maybe in the future they're considering a car limit at some of the tracks.
They think that there's going to be too many entrants. They're counting on their Netflix copycat drama show to bring in a bunch of new people.
I don't think it's necessary. You know what? Especially at Indy. It's Indy. You need to get in there. You can't just here's your free pass.
Oh, they're going to guarantee. So, if you're one of the chosen few, you're guaranteed the Indy spot.
I would guess all the top 25 teams, would get one of these charters like NASCAR has.
So then 8 teams are vying for those
for the last
8 spots.
Yeah, something like that. I don't like it. You need to, if you're going to be at Indy, you need to get into the race.
You got to be fast.
Yeah, tell what the 1 year Penske didn't qualify for the 500.
It's not super hard. I mean, it's a spec car now. It's not like the old days when you could just bring your brand new invention car to the race and just be faster than everybody.
I don't like it.
Like the jet engine car.
The jet engine.
The jet engine car was cool. We saw that thing at Phoenix driving around the track. It's weird because it doesn't make any noise until it goes past you.
It sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can't hear it until you see the back end of it. But it's a cool car. Too bad. Well, they couldn't. What I read was that they couldn't transfer it to technology that then you could sell in the showroom. Like, we're never going to have a bunch of jet engine cars driving around.
Fair.
And that was the reason. First, I think they regulated it out of existence first. Something to do with like maximum intake size, and then they just straight up banned it.
That's a shame. I miss the innovation in the Indy 500 back from that, but I don't think that would. It's not very cost efficient now.
I would. You know what? They could make Indy a non-points race, and they could bring back. You don't have to buy a spec car. You can bring anything you want. Encourage the innovation. Have a massive prize, and get drivers and cars from all over the world like they used to.
That would be fun.
But I'll talk to Roger Penske about that next time I see him.
See what he's thinking about.
Penske does say he wants to have more street races.
I'm not surprised. That seems like they bring in the most money and most visibility.
You know what? They are fun. We've been to some street races, and it is a lot of fun. It's nice to not have to drive an hour after qualifying to go get something to eat or do something. Everything's right there.
You're right there. Your race is over. You can just walk to your hotel if you're staying there. That's nice.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I don't know if street races have the level of passing that you get on a road course.
No, it's usually not as good. You can't make any mistakes too. Once and you're done.
You're hitting the concrete.
I don't like having more street races at the expense of ovals because I think a nice balance would be best. But
they need to keep a balance.
If people aren't showing up to the ovals, then they can't race at ovals. So
yeah, IndyCar ovals are less exciting than NASCAR ovals because if you touch an IndyCar, you're gonna go flying.
I think the 1.5 miles are pretty good now. Texas, well, that's gone. But Nashville Superspeedway should be fun. I miss Fontana. That was fun. But hopefully, bring more visibility to the series and the street races in the middle of downtowns. I can see what they're trying to do.
I think Penske's just focusing on, I need to make more money with this race series since he bought the rights to Indy.
Yes.
Hey, if our podcast got popular enough, we could sponsor our own IndyCar.
Yeah, that would be great. We would get pit passes.
Yeah, then we could go to the hospitality suites.
I do like free drinks.
I know. We could walk around and not let the team owners know that we're recording them and get some really good info.
Immediately ejected forever from the series.
So Roger says you can't come in anymore. That's it for Indy. What's our other category? What else is going on in racing around the world?
The WEC started up this weekend. That's the World Endurance Championship with the wonderfully named Qatar 1,812 kilometers. Which
how many miles is that in manly terms?
More than 40.
40 miles?
More than 40 miles, I believe.
1,000 kilometers. This is why I didn't study math. It's going to be like 500 to close to 500 miles, 1,200 kilometers.
It was about 8 hours long, I will say.
Oh, is that bad?
So their first race with the new hypercar formula, there were 19 hypercars in the race, including Penske, Porsche, Ferrari, Cadillac, everybody.
The Aston Martin Valkyrie.
Yes.
How about
the Alpine also has one.
How about that Nordic one that starts with a K that nobody can pronounce?
Yeah, K.
Yeah.
K's a good name.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just call it the Viking car.
So that race was... the good news is no longer on Motor Trend TV, which apparently the endurance races were on last year. It's now streaming on Max, which is a lot easier to check out on TV. So I watched some of it. And Penske got his first WEC win ever.
Do they do it on a track, or is it a road course?
It was Lusail, Qatar.
Oh, okay. I like the old races where you go from point A to point B.
That would be worth watching, but tough to cover.
Yeah, well, that's why they put Formula One on tracks. Because that and people getting killed because spectators would crowd the road sometimes and cars would go flying off and kill people. So Penske won, Cadillac
was fourth.
Okay. Still not good enough for Formula
Still
One.
not good enough for Formula One. Hopefully it looks like a good season. Might be a little more competitive than F1 with a bigger field.
And Penske was in a Porsche.
Yeah.
Okay. Or he owned a Porsche.
He was not in it. Maybe he snuck in. I don't know. It was late.
Like Iron Man in the Formula One race. I'm Iron Man. I can jump in a Formula One car and suddenly beat everybody in Formula One. So I did watch a little rallycross for the first time.
Oh, nice.
That's actually kind of interesting.
Is that on Peacock?
Yeah, it was on Peacock because they do like a series of one-on-one like little sprint races. And then at the end, it's like the top 8 cars go at it.
So it's like on a closed course, not like a big rally.
Yeah,
miles long.
It's on a dirt track. They'll have at least one jump. They have like an alternate course that I don't completely understand, but
the Joker lap?
Is that what it is?
Where you take a different
path
once out of 5 laps or something?
You get to take a different path. Huh. I couldn't figure out if like everybody had to take a different path or it was just optional. Hey, you could take path A or path B.
Like dice roll. Decides.
Reading those books where you get to choose your own ending.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's all I have for this week.
I think that covers it. We've got F1 again, some NASCAR, and IndyCar all coming up. So that should be pretty exciting.
Next week should be a little more interesting. We'll have something decent to report. Okay. As always, you can find us on Spotify now.
Yes.
In addition to
Amazon,
YouTube, Rumble, Amazon, X, and we're not on Apple yet.
No, we'll do that.
Apple's a pain. We're working on Apple.
Okay.
They want money.
Whoa, settle down, guys.
Come on. The new era of internet is free. Don't you guys know that? Everything's free and you make your money off ads.